like everything, there's a method to my madness. You've now got a bit of discussion. The introduction to this video is terribly boring unless you're actually specifically looking at buying a set of Timps. And these set of Ludwig Pro Symphonics are for sale. So what I've done is I've recorded them. I've got a high quality recording of each of the drums at the beginning of the video, so that once you've watched all of this, you know, the rest of the content, you can find your headphones and you can go and back and listen to them, and listen to the quality of the recording, the quality of the sound that the drums are actually making. There is nothing that I do to the sound. I am using a matched pair of medium quality stereo mics. Medium quality, I say they're in the range of, you know, a few £100 for the microphones, as opposed to thousands, which I literally just can't justify. They go through pro cables and they go into a pro audio, digital audio recording at a very high sample rate, and you know, and all that sort of stuff. What I'm trying to do is represent the drums as best as I can, so that you, the musician, can then make a decision about whether you want to actually take the trip up and come and look at them and play them and make a decision on whether you want to buy or not. So what we've got, as I've said, Ludwig Pro Symphonics. These are the what I consider to be the benchmark for professional orchestral playing. You've got, you know, two sets of drums essentially in this country. You've got the Ludwig Pro Symphonics and you've got the Premier Elites. The two sound different, and they operate differently, but you know, the majority of the players that I work with, and the majority of orchestras that I see, these are the drums that they are actually using. If you're a professional musician and you are setting up and you're going out into the big bad world, these drums will be a one-off purchase and they will see you out, you know, for your entire career. What we've got is 32, 29, 26 and 23 standard 4-drum set. Obviously, an additional 32 would be perfect, but you know, we don't have that. These are the counter hoops have been powder coated, so this is the later model of the drums. I would guesstimate that these were being sold in and around the sort of the early to mid 90s. So what I'll do now is I will go and look at each of the drums individually, and point out any little imperfections that you can, you know, that I can see, and you will, you know, you'll agree at the end of the video, they are in very good condition. This camera's got quite a small lens on it, so everything looks a bit distorted, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm not a filmmaker. So looking at the head, what I do is, if we sort of catch it in the light, you see that the head is actually in good condition. Obviously, if I was buying the drums, I would change the heads over. There is a slight mark here, but on the whole, they're pretty good. They have been played, and there is signs of stretching, but I've done quite a lot to take that out. On the actual bowl, we've got a little bit of marking in the lacquer here. There's another little bit there. There's some up here. There's some blushing down here. Quite a bad bit here. Another bit there, here. There's a little dent here that I've taken out. There's some more blushing here. And a bit more. So on the whole, they're in good condition. There was a couple of dents in here that I've taken out, if I can find them. As I say, there's just these two here that are visible. I can't really see any of the others. Oh, there's another one there. The castings are all sorted out. I've sort of tightened everything up. All the brakes on the casters are working. They're all these heavy duty casters like this. These sort of tend to rattle, so always play with them with the brake on, and that'll put them under tension. All the pedals are working nicely. Set them up. They've all got the brake caliper in, which is essential on these drums because the design doesn't work, and all the gauges are fully operating, and I've made sure that the actual indices do sort of stay in position. Moving on from the 32 to the 29, this has got more blushing here in the lacquer, and again this is on the player's side. Gauge works fine. Little dint here that I took out, more blushing down here, more blushing here, here and here. This is the main problem I think with the drums, bit here and here and here. So coming again, looking round on the bowl itself, it's just age, but actually when you sort of step back and look at the drums from more distance, those blushes just disappear really. They go, it's only off colour. It's when we're crawling over them like this. Again, the pedal works fine. We've got the brake caliper in here. Everything's sort of tightened up. Gauge works, and that's it really on that drum. Now the 26. Again, the head's in reasonably good condition. Looking at the bowl, light blushing round here, a bit down there. This has got the keys in, both keys you need, both the tuning hand key for these lugs and for the brake caliper that is also on here. Look, if we move the pedal down, you can see the telltale sign is these two screws here. Obviously I've actually worked on them. More blushing here on the drum, a bit more here, slightly deeper, more here. Again, coming around the whole drum, you can see it's just general moisture damage that occurs when the drums are stored. Casting in good condition, everything sort of tightened up, wheels working. Finally, we've got the 23. There's a mark here on the bowl. This drum is in probably the best condition. Few little bits there, mark there. Everything else works fine. Obviously this drum is in the best condition because it's the least used. So as you can see from a distance, they all look absolutely fine. What I'll do is I'll set them all up. They're all at playing side here, so from this distance you can see what I mean about the blushing not really showing. That's the 32. This is the 23. This is the 29, and this is the 26. So this is from the player's side, and you can see this. They're fine. They're in really good condition. Rotating them round so that we've now got the audience side. This is the 26. This is the 29. Little 23 and the 32. There's obviously light variation because you can see, as I film this way, the ambient light of the windows is behind. As you'll have seen, the drums are in actually really good condition. Yes, there's a few marks on the bowls, but that's to be expected on drums that are like 20 years old. In terms of the actual functionality of the instrument, they're working really well. All the bowls, I've set them up so that they're actually perfectly round and working concentrically, and all that sort of stuff has been sorted out. Yes, you will probably want to change the heads, but actually they are functional as they are. And not only that, they've also got covers. The paintwork is in really good condition, and it's because they've always had discs and covers. Looking at the discs, The 23 in really good condition, both straps working. The 26, again, the felt is in good condition, both straps are working. There's no damage to the discs. The 29 has damage on the edge of the disc here, but the felt is by and large good. There's a little tear here, and this strap, I knew it was on this drum, this strap is broken. And the 32, again, a few paint chips and a bit more scuffing on the actual felts. There's a few little holes, but on the whole it's good. Both straps working. Now these discs aren't the greatest discs in the world. They're only made from MDF. They are functional, they're cheap, and consequently they are non-repairable. So things like the strap, means essentially a new disc. It's not worth, the amount of work that it takes to repair the strap costs more than actually buying a decent disc. So here we are. There's they've got covers as well. So yeah, the discs are functioning. Yeah, the strap on one of them is a little bit damaged, but I've cut another hole in it so it can be used. And the discs are functional. They are actually just a functional item anyway, so they're not going to stop a car from going through them. They're just there to stop the odd small case from dropping on them when they're in transit. And the covers, these covers are fine. They're more like dust covers than actual transit covers, but they protect the drums. They have got some element of padding in them. The two smaller covers, the 23, in fact all of them have little tears. There's a little tear here on the 23, there's a little nick out of these. You need to be careful on these mushroom covers with the little nicks. But they are there, they're all working, and actually the covers themselves and the discs themselves represent a sizable investment on top of the value of drums anyway. So if you're looking at buying a new set of drums, you're looking at sort of a lot of money, plus probably what I would guesstimate the best part of £1,000 on discs and covers. For these discs and covers, if you get better discs and covers, then you'd be probably looking at more like £1,500. So yeah, it's for me they represent a very good buy. I know it's a lot of money, but ultimately you get what you pay for. And if you're wanting a set of Timps that will last for many for then these are the ones to buy. Basically, obviously the most important thing for musical instruments is how they sound, as I've mentioned. So when I do the recordings of them, what I've done is I started at the low end of each drum and increase in volume to try and give you both the dynamic range and the pitch range of the drum. So I've gone from the low into a couple of places in the mid range of the drum and at the high end of the drum. So what you're getting is you're getting a full scope of both the dynamic range of the drums and the tonal range of the drums, and that's in each drum I recorded at the same time. They're all in exactly the same position, directly underneath the microphones, which are 4 foot above the actual playing surface. So plenty of distance to get to let the sound waves propagate. So yes, if you've got any questions, obviously feel free to ask. Probably better with stuff like this is just to phone up. They are going to be going for sort of offers around £9,500, so it's a serious purchase, and I do fully expect that people will want to come and view them. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you find it informative.